So it is, when you say should the Rajya Sabha be relevant, let me off the bat agree with my senior colleague Mehtab and say yes. I think there is a role for the Rajya Sabha. It is very relevant in our scheme of things. But having said that, I think we should try and step away from the homilies of democracy and all of that we usually say to distract away from a discussion of the need for reforming the Rajya Sabha. So my view, the way I approach it, and I've been 10 years in Rajya Sabha, I think there is a role for the Rajya Sabha, clearly, but there can be a compelling argument made that the role of the Rajya Sabha needs a relook. And I'll explain to you, I'll just lay out quickly and briefly what I mean by that. If you look at originally the role of the Rajya Sabha, it was meant to be, and I'll make 3 points, and I'll say why those 3 points are not relevant anymore. It was supposed to be the Council of States. I don't see any reason why the Lok Sabha can't be called the Council of States, because they represent all states and there are elected members of parliament representing each state in each constituency. So that is not any unique function for the Rajya Sabha. Then there was this contention that the Rajya Sabha will bring an improved quality of debate because there is a certain quality of people that come into the Rajya Sabha. And trust me, I am from the Rajya Sabha. I don't see any lower quality in the Lok Sabha. I see some very wise people in the Lok Sabha, as do I see not very wise people in the Rajya Sabha. So I don't think that argument stands as well. Then there is this argument that having a second house will delay the legislative passion. That is the third argument that is used for Rajya Sabha. Look, it's a cooling down period. The Lok Sabha will just pass a legislation, the Rajya Sabha can have a relook at it. You see, that was a good argument to make as long as there was no anti-defection law. Currently, if a party passes it, gets it passed in the Lok Sabha, the odds are that it will get passed again in the Rajya Sabha because of the same anti-defection whip. So the 3 legs on which this argument for the Rajya Sabha stood with our founding fathers and the constitutional debate no longer are relevant. Now that is not to say that the Rajya Sabha is not relevant, because what I think the Rajya Sabha still does is, of course, it gives an additional look at the legislation. I can give you scores of instances where the Lok Sabha has passed a legislation and the Rajya Sabha has improved on it. Not that I say that Lok Sabha is any less competent to do it, but a second look at any piece of work will give you a better perspective, and hindsight always gives you an improved look. So an additional look at legislation. I agree with Mehtab that Rajya Sabha, more than any other institution, forces political consensus building. In the arrogant world of the Lok Sabha, and I use that word deliberately, there is a tendency to forget that the first past the post system only means that you represent 25-30% of the people that are elected in the country. And you tend to forget that there is another 60-70% of the Indians whose views you need to involve in legislation that affects all 100%. So Rajya Sabha is the only institution that forces some amount of consensus building, consensus making on the political formation in the Lok Sabha. The other 2 points that the Rajya Sabha does today is that it does allow non-political talent to come in. For example, I could never have come into the Lok Sabha. I can, after 10 years, aspire to go to the Lok Sabha, maybe in the next election. But in 2006, when I entered Parliament, there is no way that I would have even remotely been considered a possible candidate for the Lok Sabha. So, bringing in, providing an alternate route for non-political talent to enter politics in public service, Rajya Sabha does provide that platform. And the fourth is that it does provide continuity over the Lok Sabha. The Lok Sabha has got a 5-year term, Rajya Sabha provides a slightly longer continuity. But one thing, the compelling argument for the reform of the Rajya Sabha is that consensus building and this checks and balances was never envisaged to mean obstruction of popular will. And this is the debate. Do we allow, in the name of a check and balance and consensus building, political obstructionism? Because I say this with all responsibility in my command, a lot of what people see in the Rajya Sabha today is not lack of consensus. It is a deliberate attempt to say, we just don't want that to happen. And I'll tell you why. Why that is so evident. If it is a question of saying we don't agree with the bill, then let's have a debate. In the debate, you push for amendments. If the amendments are with the majority, bill fails. But if we have seen in the last many months, there is no attempt to even start a debate in the Rajya Sabha, which leads me to the natural conclusion that the veto right of the Rajya Sabha is being misused not to evolve a consensus, but to develop an obstruction. And that is a reasonable assumption to make, even though people may disagree, and I think people in the Congress may disagree with this characterization. Rajiv Gowda definitely will. A reasonable thing that is happening, reasonable supposition or reasonable assumption to make, and that is the argument for reforms of the Rajya Sabha role. That does the Rajya Sabha have an absolute right to veto on non-money bills? Number one. Number two, if there is a bill that has been passed in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha is preventing its introduction, should there be a way of making sure that bill is automatically admitted? So I think the issue should be not so much about whether the Rajya Sabha is relevant, but is the Rajya Sabha relevant in its current form? And should we be looking at a conversation, discussion, discourse and narrative about a new Rajya Sabha? As Mehtaji said, parliamentary democracy is an evolving process. So the follow-up question is, why is our institution not evolving? Why is the Rajya Sabha not evolving? Thank you.